assume that AI is your gossipy friend. You know, the friend that everybody has that you say, I'm telling this to you in confidence, don't tell anyone else.
Should people be worried with AI taking their jobs?
AI is changing the workforce, there's no doubt about that. We should be using AI to benefit humanity, not to harm it.
How can we trust what we see on social media?
Deepfakes are used to scam people, embarrass people, and they're used to create misinformation. Entirely fabricated cases.
Hey, I am Alina Reddy and welcome to Foreign Influence.
It was a wild experience.
Something clicked in me and I didn't want to be average anymore.
What I love about the Dragon is
How did that come about?
Well, educated.
So he survived for about an hour?
Best young emerging actor.
Oh, wow.
It has to be on point.
Yeah, yes. A particular sketch with Rebel Wilson. Never stop learning.
I decided to run away.
here I am, continuing my tennis journey here.
Thought, that's it?
A few opinions about what
Passages.
that made your journey harder. This is Alina Reddy and welcome to Foreign Influence. Today we're going to explore a concept that is foreign to most of our audience, being the capabilities, limitations, ethics and dangers of the AI in our everyday lives. We have arrived at the University of Melbourne to speak to an expert in this field. Welcome to Foreign Influence.
Thanks for having me.
Jeannie, you are a professor of law at the University of Melbourne. How did you get involved in AI?
Well, through my father, actually. My father is English. He worked in Canada. He came to Australia to work on the Apollo space mission many years ago.
That's very impressive.
That's very impressive. But then he got into computer programming. He got one of the first laptop home computers. It wasn't a laptop, home computers, and he started teaching himself to code. And he said to me, "Jeannie, you should do this. You'd really enjoy it." And I said, "Don't tell me what to do, Dad." And there you go. I'm now working a little bit in the area that he recommended. I started teaching AI and the law about 15 years ago, bringing together my two interests. But in 2010, I became the director of the Centre for AI and Digital Ethics, which is a collaboration between the law school, where we are now, and the Faculty of Engineering and Information Technology. So the centre brings together a lawyer, a data scientist, and a philosopher. And that sounds like the beginning of a joke, actually, but in fact it's this thing called cross-disciplinary research, where we bring different perspectives to the role of AI in society, and in fact we work with people across the university to embed and inspire people to understand not just AI but AI ethics.
Let's get back to basics. When people refer to AI, what are they actually talking about?
Well, it depends who's talking about AI. AI has been around for a long time, at least since the 1950s, if not earlier, but it's changed popular meaning. So AI used to be something called expert systems or decision trees, which are kind of hand-coded ways of solving problems. AI used to mean, and probably to some people still does mean, machine learning algorithms that can make sense out of large volumes of data, can use data to make predictions. But for most people, AI now means generative AI, which uses machine learning neural networks to create language as opposed to make predictions on the basis of data. It's still making predictions, but its prediction is how language works as opposed to whether a disease is emerging or whether a scan shows someone has cancer.
Wow. So how do you think AI will shape the future?
Well, we're living in tempestuous times. It's hard to know at the moment just where AI is going to go. So some people are warning of AI Armageddon, effectively, that AI is going to take over the world and sort of get rid of all us humans. Other people think it's the best thing that could have happened. It's going to improve productivity. It's going to give us all more free time to do the things we want to do, crochet or go for walks or play with our children. It's unclear. I suspect it's somewhere in between those extremes, but just where the economy will settle, we're still waiting to see. I guess my own personal view would be that AI is still overhyped. We're hearing a lot about what it might be able to do, what something called agentic AI might be able to do, but we still haven't seen a lot of those predictions demonstrated. Maybe AI doesn't quite get as far as some people suggest, but still will be impactful in our lives and our workplaces.
There are a lot of advantages to AI, but what do you think some of the problems are?
There's amazing inventions with AI, and actually it's worth spending some time thinking about what Australia's doing in this field. So there's lots of really interesting inventions coming out of Australia that involve artificial intelligence. I'll add my favourite one before I say the bad things. There's a drone that flies up and checks wind turbines for damage after adverse weather events, using computer vision to decide to be able to examine closely the wind turbine and compare it with original images to see if it's been damaged. And there's lots of other examples, particularly actually in the medical field. So there's some amazing uses of AI, but there's also some risks. And we need to be aware of the risk. It doesn't mean we can't embrace the opportunities of AI, but the risks are important, and it's important to understand the risks to make the decision of how and where we want to use AI, because it may be it's useful in some areas and we just don't want to use it in others.
Should people be worried with AI taking their jobs?
Well, that sort of runs into my point about there's some places AI shouldn't be used. So AI is changing the workforce, there's no doubt about that. AI is really good at coding, for example. So people who are entry-level coders may find that the AI is replacing them. AI is really good at summarising documents, retrieving policies, drafting emails. So people who work in those sort of administrative roles may find that there's an AI who can do at least part of their job. But one thing that AI isn't good at least generative AI at the moment, is thinking and feeling. AI runs on the basis of predictions. Generative AI produces language or produces code or produces images on the basis of predictions from the data it's been trained on. And if you think about what most people do in their jobs, they're doing a lot more than that. They're using all sorts of skills and abilities to navigate their workplace. It's most obvious in teachers. Teachers require significant skills to be able to manage the classroom and inspire the students and do the other things that teachers do. But just about anybody who works in an office know that their job is not just processing information. They're supporting their colleagues, they're providing advice, they're problem solving, they're looking ahead, they're looking backwards, they're planning, they're strategizing. AI can help with those things. It can augment what humans are doing, but it's not replacing or substituting for what people are doing. And it becomes even more apparent when you think about fields like law or medicine or flying an aeroplane. All of those things use a lot of human judgment and skill, and an AI can help, but it's not going to replace.
How do you use AI?
How do I use AI? And deepfakes are getting really good. It's easy to synthesize someone's voice. It's easy to create a realistic image.
We've heard a lot about hallucination. Are we able to fix it?
Well, one of the things about generative AI is that when it's asked a question, it gives a realistic sounding response, but often that response has errors in it. Either what it says is wrong or the thing it refers to is wrong. So, for example, there's been lots of lawyers in my field who've produced documents to court that are based on entirely fabricated cases. That's called a hallucination. But we've also seen other examples. People have asked questions relating to the world. What's the highest mountain? What's the hottest place? Where a wrong answer has been given. And we know that some consulting firms and other professionals have got in trouble for using AIs that have produced made-up material. And then if you can see that if there's too much reliance on generative AI to produce factual information, then sort of the reliability of factual information starts to erode. So one of the things we say about if you're using AI, it can save time, but it has to be checked. Anything it says has to be checked. Bigger, more powerful models and some other technical advances can improve the accuracy of the information. Some of the listeners may have used something like Google Notebook, for example, where you put your own document and ask the AI to interrogate that document. That's probably a more reliable source of information, but at the end of the day, generative AI is not entirely reliable in the outputs it produces.
So no cutting corners.
No cutting corners, yes, and that's not just school kids, that's everybody.
With the rise of deep fakes, how can we trust what we see on social media?
Well, we can't, to be honest. Deepfakes are really interesting. So I've talked about some of the risks of AI. I've said there's some risks of AI. It might take our jobs. Generative AI hallucinates, it gives the wrong answer, and so on. But to some extent, the real risks that come from AI, the risks that comes from people using AI badly in malicious ways with an intention or purpose of causing harm. And deepfakes are a good example of that. Deepfakes are used to scam people, to take money for people, providing nothing in return. And deepfakes are used to humiliate and embarrass people. And we see that in the sort of rise of what is called non-consensual intimate images, which are constructed images of somebody nude, perhaps engaged in a sexual act, which they never did, and that's used then to humiliate that person. And, deepfake nudes, non-consensual intimate images, have been used a lot against politicians, female politicians in particular. So deepfakes are used to scam people, embarrass people, and they're used to create misinformation. Images of politicians or public figures saying or doing things they never did, promoted with the aim of either undermining that person or just kind of destabilising the political environment. And that is problematic. And deepfakes are getting really good. It's easy to synthesise someone's voice. It's easy to create a realistic image. Anybody who's looked at the new thing from OpenAI Sora, you can create realistic videos in just a few minutes. They're getting better, they're harder to detect, and we need other strategies to make sure that the information we're getting from social media is sound or believable or healthy, to be honest.
Well, that's deeply concerning. How do you use AI?
How do I use AI? Well, I have to say, as someone who studies AI, I don't use generative AI a lot. I'm really interested actually in the insights that can come out of machine learning algorithms on big data to give us insights into disease, for example. I think that's a really interesting area. Generative AI I don't use that much, partly because if I'm going to do fact checking, I might as well do it myself. What I do use generative AI for is I use it for summarising really long documents. So if I'm not sure a document's going to be useful for me or I just want an overview of what it says, I will use AI to summarise the document.
Just to save a bit of time.
Yeah, to save a bit of time. Yeah, so that it can help me sort out which ones I need to read and which I don't. So I use it a little bit that way. Some of my students use generative AI, for example, Google Notebook, but there's other tools as well. They put their readings and my lectures into a podcast and then they listen to the podcast while they're exercising or travelling. I think that's okay too. Using it, that's sort of augmenting their knowledge. So I'm going to use that word a lot, augmenting knowledge. That's where you use the AI to help you do something, help you to do something better. What we don't want is AI substituting human knowledge, because in most cases AI at the moment isn't as good as people, so we don't want it to substitute humans, we want it to augment humans, and humans to be very careful about their content.
There are lots of sources of AI. Which one do you think is the best one?
We're in Melbourne, so which AI is best is a bit like which coffee shop is best. It really depends on your personal taste. So if people out there wanted to have a go with using AI to make a suggestion about where they might go on a holiday or summarise a document, they probably need to try a few different ones. I personally use Google Notebook because I like being able to put a document in and say, tell me 3 important facts, or find the bit that's on consumer protection law, or find me the bit that's on space law. So I quite like Google Notebook, but other people prefer the other offerings, ChatGPT or Grok or Anthropic, or there's many different things you can use, and people actually probably need to go out and try them. Just have a go, just have a taste test, to be honest.
Deepfakes are used in scams. Should people be really worried about the rise of scams?
Yes, there has been an increasing number of scams over the last years, but Australia's got a pretty good response to scams. We've got a scam centre, and people can go online, Google Australian Scam Centre, and they can find information on recent scams, which can help them be aware of the scams that are prevalent in any particular point in time. And we also have new legislation in Australia called the Scam Prevention Act, which places responsibilities on platforms, banks and telcos to take steps to prevent, disrupt, report scams. And I think that will make a real difference.
When people are using AI, how can they protect their privacy?
Yeah, it's a good question. Privacy is really an important issue for people in the digital age, because we know that, you know, there's people all over the place trying to take our data.
Yeah, and especially we're so encouraged to use AI and to tell AI all our personal information, and we're told that's how AI can get better.
What I would suggest is assume that AI is your gossipy friend. You know, the friend that everybody has, that you say, I'm telling this to you in confidence, don't tell anyone else. And they leave the room and they tell everybody, and you start to get people emailing going, I just heard. That's AI. AI, if you put information into a free AI tool like ChatGPT, like Gemini, like Grok, like Anthropic, any of those tools, that information could be used as training data. Your prompt could be used as training data. That means that it's gone into the ether. Now, in most cases, training data doesn't get spat out again. It's not like I tell AI something and it goes tell someone else, but it might. There are situations when AI, generative AI, does this thing called regurgitates information, where it spits out information that it got from somewhere else. It doesn't generate new information, it just spits it out. So I'd say to people, don't put personal information into AI. Don't share too much. Don't ask or prompt anything that you don't want your next door neighbour or your mum to know.
Your mum.
Your mum is always the...
As the professor of law, what do you think about students using AI? Should they be using it or should they not be using it?
Universities are naturally worried that students may use AI and won't gain the learning and skills that they should be from their degree. My personal view is that everybody should be AI literate.
Jeannie, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your academic path.
I'm originally from Canberra, and I always wanted to be a lawyer because I saw a movie called, actually I read the book and then saw the movie, I should say, Kill a Mockingbird. So I was always really inspired by the idea of the lawyer as the sort of defender of ideas of justice, really. I'm an academic lawyer because what I discovered is I like teaching rather than being in court. So the thing that I really enjoy is teaching students, and that's a really lovely thing to do. And I haven't taught a child of a student yet, but it won't be that far. And then I'll feel that I've really been successful.
Oh, that's wonderful. As the professor of law, what do you think about students using AI? Should they be using it or should they not be using it?
Well, it's a very controversial and topical issue at the moment in universities and in schools. Universities are naturally worried that students may use AI and won't gain the learning and skills that they should be from their degree. My personal view is that everybody should be AI literate. And by literate, I mean people should know how AI works in a general sense. Obviously, not everybody's a computer scientist. I'm not a computer scientist or an engineer. They should know a bit about how AI works. They should know the risks, things like hallucination bias, privacy. They should know something about the aspirations of ethical AI, that we should be using AI to benefit humanity, not to harm it. And then I think if students have education in those things, they understand how AI works, they understand some of the risks, they understand the aspirations of ethical AI, and they know how to use it, so they know how to use it well, then the idea is that students are equipped to move into a world that is embedded in AI, has AI throughout it, but also are able to exercise critical judgment about when not to use AI and can recognise the limits on the capacity of AI and hopefully reflect themselves on things that are important to being a human, like friendship and loyalty and trust and honesty. So that's my hope. I think AI literacy helps students, helps people control their interactions with AI for the better good.
For the better good is the key.
It is the key.
To
That's
everything.
right. It should be our tool. We should not be its tool.
You have been in law for definitely over 1 decade, for sure.
Oh, very long time.
How has this industry changed?
The legal industry, how's it changed? Well, Australia's quite an interesting place because my field is actually consumer protection law as well as technology. Australia has very good consumer protection law, but the challenges for law generally are actually how fast society is changing. Law has dealt with technological change before. Law's dealt with fax machines, it's dealt with trains, it's dealt with telex, it's dealt with fax machines, it's dealt with email, but the rate of change is increasing. If you think that, ChatGPT only burst onto the scenes a few years ago, and already we're seeing it all over the place, and we're now hearing talk about, ChatGPT's old hat, we're going to have agentic AI, or we're going to have quantum computing. So the rate of change is quite fast, and I think that's hard for the law and for lawyers to keep up. And in fact, what I would say is that we need more and more in workplaces and in government and in regulators is to have multidisciplinary teams, because no one brain can manage all of this. So the model needs to be lawyers working with computer scientists, working with social scientists, working with medical people, working with psychologists, working with, artists and writers. We need to have people working in these multidisciplinary collaborative teams, because that's the only way we can keep up with the rate of social change and make sure that we get the change that we want, not the change that's forced on us. And climate scientists would be the other member of that group.
Well, we like to be in control.
Yeah, I think so. And idealistic. We want good things to come out of this technology. We don't want a race to the bottom where we're all just sort of milling around in fake images and badly written poems.
Jeannie, last question. When was the last time you tried something for the first time?
Oh, that's such a nice question. When was the last time I tried something for the first time? I can't remember when I tried something for the first time, but I can tell you that I've done a few things, gone back to a few things that I enjoyed when I was a child. So when I was a child, I liked to go horse riding, and I have recently gone horse riding again. And there was a pretty big gap between riding as a child and riding as an adult, so it was almost like doing it for the first time. And it was pretty fun, though I was more anxious as an adult than I was as a child.
Well, that's something that AI will never be able to replace, that emotion when you're doing something physically, and that wind going through your hair and that warmth of the horse you're riding.
That's true. Yeah. And actually there's a really good insight there too. So we're worried, there is some social worry about young people spending too much time online and too much time with AI. And at the end of the day, there is something to be said for getting outside.
Fresh air and vitamin D is irreplaceable.
Right. It is irreplaceable, that's right.
Well, Jeannie, thank you so much for taking the time. You're very, very busy and this is the end of the year. All your students are waiting for you. Thank you very much for being a part of our show.
Well, thank you for a great conversation.